Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the 2022 Sekolah Cikal Amri CAS Exhibition Project Talk. I am Jade Helena.
And I am Felisa, and we would like to thank each and every one of you for joining us in today's Year 12 CAS exhibition with the theme Big Differences.
Start small. Today's event is the beginning of the CAS Exhibition Project, where our Year 12 seniors have showcased their CAS projects, which they have conducted throughout their 2 years of being DP students.
This year, there were a total of 35 CAS projects. But before we start today's project, I think we need to briefly explain for those who aren't very familiar yet about CAS. So Jade, what actually is CAS?
Well, first off, Elisa, CAS stands for Creativity, Activity, and Service. It is a mandatory program of Sekolah Cikal Amri that aims to develop students' caring, impactful leading, reflective, communicative, and action-oriented competences of the 5 stars dimension.
Throughout today's project talk, we will get to learn more about CAS, the project, the challenge phase, and the insight from conducting these projects.
Now, to open the 2022 CAS Exhibition Project Talk, please welcome the head of Sekolah Cikal, Ibu Tari Sanjoyo.
Greetings, students, teachers, parents, and staff members. It is a pleasure for me to speak here before the annual CAS exhibition with one of my favorite themes today. Big differences start small. I am a firm believer of that statement. Big differences always start somewhere, whether it is a habit like waking up earlier every day or a helping hand like volunteer work. No matter how insignificant it seems, when the heart is involved, it is guaranteed to make a huge impact sooner or later. Which is why I find this theme to be perfect for CAS. CAS stands for Creativity, Action, and Services. They are the heart of the diploma program as it encourages students to explore personal interests as counterbalance to the academic pressure one might experience from IB. CAS complements the program in a holistic way, as students are given the opportunity to help others or learn more about themselves. In other words, I like to describe CAS as a journey of discovery of self and others. I am more than proud to stand here with these incredible students, to see them show their courage to learn and explore, a skill not many people have under their sleeves. Thank you, lovely students, for inspiring us with your journey. And thank you for the endless support from the parents, teachers, and staffs as you propel these students to success.
Thank you, Putari, for the wonderful speech. We would also like to invite Ms. Anggi as the DP coordinator of Cikal Amri Secondary School to give a few words. Please welcome Ms. Anggi.
Greetings to everyone. A very warm welcome to the respected teachers and the incredible parents and also the students. I am so grateful to congratulate all of the students for their achievement in fulfilling the requirements of Creativity, Activity, Service or CAS through CAS exhibition. Sekolah Cikal Amri Setu proudly present the virtual CAS exhibition 2022. Through CAS, students have opportunities to enhance their personal and interpersonal development by learning through experience. Through their CAS project and CAS experiences, students grow and learn how to work collaboratively with others and cultivate their empathy. Even though in the pandemic situation, they successfully can adapt to the situation and produce a meaningful work, and also they has a chance to contribute to the community. I would like to say thank you to our CAS coordinator, Ms. Nisa, and all of CAS advisors who have guided students in completing their CAS experiences and projects. Also, for all the teachers and students committee who has give their contribution and dedication to make this event. And for students, I am very proud to see all of you that you can get the valuable lessons from this program. As a part of empowering member of just sustainable and peaceful global society, I hope that everything that you have gained through this program can be useful for your future life. Last but not least, enjoy the event and congratulate students!
Thank you so much, Ms. Angi, for the wonderful speech. Today's event is the beginning of the 2022 CAS exhibition, online exhibition, which started today until the 4th of February. To check out all the 35 projects, head to the IG page at Cikal_CAS exhibition.
That's right. You guys, please don't hesitate to follow the CAS Instagram account to see further information. This project talk is divided into 2 sessions, where we will be able to chat with 6 representatives from the CAS project. The first session, running right now in the morning, will be 1 hour long. And the second session, starting at 9:40, right after the first sessions, will run for 1 hour. Each session will have a Q&A sessions, where you guys can ask what you are curious about from their project in the comment sections below.
Now, without further ado, for the first session, we'll be talking to 3 representative projects.
In today's sessions, we have Nayanda for Strand for Carnation in the category of Art and Literatures.
Hi, Nayanda. How are you today?
Hi, I'm great. Thank you. A little bit nervous, but mostly excited.
I'm so glad. The next, we have Regala for Merch of Meow in the category Environment.
Hi.
Hi, Regala.
How are you,
Hi.
Regala?
How are you guys doing today?
You're
Doing
great.
fine, thank you.
Good. Love that. Love that.
And Nareska for Studi Diri in the category Community. Hi, Nareska. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you guys?
I'm good, thank you. Before we start, I would like to remind everyone joining this talk that you are invited to write your questions in the comments section because our speakers will be answering them later on.
Well, then, I would like to start with Nayanda. Hi, how are you, Nayanda? To start off, could you please introduce yourself and your project?
Okay. Hi, I'm Naya, and my project is Strands of Carnations, which is a collaborative CAS project with 2 of my other friends. It is an art exhibition featuring a group of young artists, and we are also making exclusive art books which the profit from those art books are going to go to charity.
That's so nice. Your online platform would be on Instagram, if I'm correct?
Yes, it is on Instagram, and we are also going to release our website soon.
That's great to hear. Thank you so much for explaining your project to us. Now, let's move on to Regala. What exactly is Merch for Meow?
Hi. So Merch for Meow is a nonprofit organization or nonprofit shop founded by me and my other friend Jemima. And we design stickers, sell stickers, and 100% of the proceeds from the stickers will be donated to animal shelters across Jakarta. So yes, help.
Wow, raising funds through selling handmade product. That's actually pretty creative yet useful for the environment. And last but not least, we have Mareska. Hi, Mareska. Hope you're doing well. So, Mareska,
Hi.
could you please explain to us regarding your project, Studi?
So Studidiri is a content agency that aims to promote and support the art scene of Jakarta with local artists, emerging artists, up and coming artists, and yes, that's it.
So you're giving them some sort of a platform.
Yes, I'm giving them a platform. Oh, and it's founded by Keisha Bell and Naima, as well as me and Hadia. So we're kind of a collective group working on this together.
That's very nice. I'm sure that's very fun for 4 of you. Thank you so much,
It
Nayanda.
is.
Thank you so much, Nayanda, Regala, and Mareska, for explaining your project. It sounds very interesting, creative, and I want to know deeper into your project and processes. If I may, I would like to start with Nayanda. Where did the idea come from? What was your inspiration behind Strands of Carnation?
Hi, that's an interesting question. So this is a collaborative project. So at first, we gathered and we kind of thought we wanted to do something for the community, and we also wanted to do something that we love, something that we would enjoy doing. And it just so happens that the three of us, me, Maizan, and Keisha, share kind of a shared passion in art. Even though me and Maizan weren't art students, we wanted to do something which relates to art because it is kind of a field that we're both fascinated by, and Keisha herself is an art student. So we decided to go with an art exhibition. And we also wanted that art exhibition to somehow give back to the community. And so that's why we also decided to make exclusive art books. And all of the profit from the art books will go into charity. We will donate the profit to an organization called Yayasan Cahaya Pelangi Indonesia, which is a nonprofit organization which leads quite a variety of charity projects, including but not limited to, for example, Sedekah Al-Quran untuk Yatim Duafa, which I do not know how to refer to in Indonesian, so excuse me for the language switch. But yeah, that's basically it.
Wow, that's actually very nice of you, the fact that you work for the community. Can you please explain to us the process of your project? And through all of the process, what did you enjoy the most?
So I guess it is a long process. The CAS exhibition, the CAS project is a long process. It started with us kind of brainstorming on like what we wanted to do, and then investigating on how we're going to do it. And then came the preparation where we had to prepare everything from the website to the post to the artists themselves, where we kind of got together with the artists and talk about the general theme of the exhibition. And then came publicizing our exhibition, which is a challenge in itself. But I think throughout the whole process, the part which I personally enjoyed the most was getting to know kind of the student artists and like their perspective, what they wanted to bring to the table for the exhibition, and having really, really interesting discussions with them about our theme. So yeah, I think that is what I enjoyed the most.
That is actually very sweet of you. It's very communicative with everyone. I'm sure that's very memorable, hard, but something you'll never forget. Let's move on to Regala. Regala, what I want to
Hi.
know when it comes to designing your merch and marketing it, what is the most challenging part that you have faced throughout your project?
Ooh, all right. That's quite interesting. Probably the most difficult process. Wait, that means like the most difficult part, right? First off was actually finding where to donate to, because we did contact quite a few like shelters, and then either we were ghosted, or we were like, they were like yes, but they didn't really contact us further. But then thankfully for my CAS advisor, she suggested that, oh, we have actually a teacher like in Cikal that actually has a animal shelter, or like a private animal shelter. And I was like, what? No way. And it's Miss Ochi, and she has her own little cat shelter, and that's where we'll be donating to. And the second hardest thing was also time management, because we already had like a well set plan of like when to actually publish and when to actually like launch all our stickers. But it came to us swiftly that during that time it was semester exams, and then we're like, oh no. So we had to like reschedule everything and move it back to December. Well, January and December. So yeah, that's probably the most difficult part as of now. So yeah.
Hi, Regala.
Hi.
I saw your CAS project in the CAS Instagram account, and I just want to say you did a great job on your CAS project.
Thank too nice guys. Oh my god.
Speaking of the most challenging part that you have faced, honestly, I think it's actually pretty cool the fact that you could communicate effectively with your team in the COVID-19 pandemic situation. And I know very well it must be not easy. So now I'm curious, Regala, have you ever managed a charity project before? Because seeing the result of your project, it is actually pretty great.
Ooh, okay. So actually, okay, that means this kind of like goes back in time, which is like how we got the idea of doing Merch for Meow. So this is kind of like semi my first time, but it's definitely not Jemima's first time like selling merchandise. And throughout 2020 and 2021, we were a part of many design teams, whether it was helping the student council or help another CAS project by my friend Aina, which is Charity for Prosperity, where she sold also stickers and cookies for COVID relief. And from there, I worked together with Jimmy as well. And then after that, Jimmy was like, hey, we can do this for our CAS project. We both like animals. Why don't we just like donate to animal shelters? And I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. So yeah. So yes, technically in some way we have, but not exactly to an extent where we're like, okay, and then we like contact the person and then we donate the actual money to the shelters or like to help anyone. Because like most of the time when we previously helped Charity for Prosperity, we were only making the designs and we weren't exactly in the the community or the part of the project where we're actually like donating and contacting people. So yeah, this is kind of my first time. So yeah.
That sounds really interesting. You actually kind of complete each other as a duo. And you grow together as a Cikal student throughout being Cikal. How you're not, oh, it's not the first time designing merch and stuff like that. Mareska, what was the most memorable experience from your project that have taught you the most?
The most memorable moments, yeah, from my project would probably be first the shooting process. I feel like every shooting process is very memorable for me because, you know, doing shoots like that is a very exciting way because you have a lot of preparation from the start. And it's like the D Day, like you have to get it right on the day of the shoot. And I think it's just a very thrilling, exciting way of like connecting with someone. But unfortunately, the interview was via Zoom. So it felt different. It feels different if it was like, in real life. But thankfully, it's still a great experience. And prepping it with my friends also, making this with my friends is also a very, very exciting part and a very memorable one for me because I think that this is a memory that I will remember forever since we're in the last year of high school, last year of DP, and I think I will count every memory that I've made this year. Not saying that sebelum-sebelumnya enggak, cuman I think this year itu lebih, I will remember that for sure. And meeting the talents also. I think I will remember that because there are people that I admire their works and them as a person. I think, yeah, I'm very honored to do this project even from the start because it's what I love and I love making it with them and I admire them. So I guess it's a win-win for me. So yeah, I think that's a very memorable thing for my project.
Okay, you have mentioned the most memorable experience is the shooting process, even though unfortunately you have to meet them online. And now I am interested to know deeper about your process. Mariska, if you could turn back time, is there anything you would have done differently? And what would it be?
If I could turn back time, sorry, if I could yeah, I think I wouldn't do things differently, but if we were in a world where there's no pandemic, there's no COVID, I would meet them in real life. I would shoot the interview in real life. I think that's the only thing that I would do differently since COVID, pandemic, and everything. I can meet them in real life. I can interview them face to face. I think that's the only thing that I would do differently. The rest, everything's perfect. Everything's fine. I love the process. I love interaction that I had with my talents. And yeah, I think that's it. I wouldn't change a thing, except we're living in another world. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, especially that you have to meet the person that actually you admire.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
yeah. So right now, I have a question for all of the representatives. As junior, we're currently working on our CAS experience, and because you guys have experienced all of the CAS process, I believe you guys have a broad, deep understanding.
So, speakers, do you have any advice or suggestions for juniors who will be facing this in the near future?
Starting with you, Mariska, do you have any advice or suggestions for juniors?
Okay, first, you guys have to enjoy what you're doing. That's the first step, because while doing CAS, you don't want to feel for it to be a burden to you. You want to do it like it has to be fun or not. I mean, yeah, it has to be something that you guys enjoy. I mean, yeah, you guys comfortable with. Surround yourself with supporting environment. Like do it with your friends. It kayak it's you have to be in a good supportive system. And second, time management. Of course, you're in DP. You have to balance your school life with CAS life and outside of school life. So you kind of have to incorporate the CAS into the school life, but it's still like masih santai gitu. I think cari aman aja kalian, jangan yang terlalu ribet, and kalian enjoy aja sih itu. And mungkin dari yang lain bisa nambahin.
I agree. I agree. How about you, Nayanda? Do you have any suggestions for us or maybe the viewers watching?
I think most have been said by Mareska. Definitely do something you enjoy and be mindful of your time management. Time management is not only about not procrastinating. I feel like that's the main thing that people say about time management, but you also need to work smart. So check your academic calendar, make sure that the busiest part of your project is not during a time like, say, semester exams, because you're really going to dig your own grave if you do that. So that's definitely some of my suggestions. And I guess don't be afraid to collaborate, not only with other students, but for example, with nonprofit organizations, just like Regala has done. I think that really kind of helps take a weight off of your shoulders and also helps develop your communication skills, which is actually a very important part of CAS. Yeah, and Regala, do you have any more suggestions?
I feel like Naya and Maraska has already said everything, but again, for like bringing emphasis to this is that if you can do your CAS project now, do it, because like if you have an idea now, do it now, because like one of the things that I wish I did is like I thought about merch for Meow a lot earlier, which I cannot like change because like I only thought of it over like the summer and during my first semester of DP. But if you have an idea and you want to do it now. Like that's one. Two, as Naya also mentioned, don't be scared to collaborate, even if you're like, I mean, depends if you're a people person. Person. Wait, is that how you say it? But if you're a people person and you like collaborating, but even if you don't, it's great to collaborate with people because again, it also helps fulfill one like learning outcome of CAS, which is like collaborative skills. But like, yeah, but also like it lifts a weight off of your shoulders that you would have done alone. So yeah, it's best to work with people. And finally, as mentioned by a lot of our kakak class from CAS exhibition and previous CAS exhibition, CAS is probably one of the easiest subject in BP. Not because it's like easy, but like, because like you're doing everything that you love and you're getting points for it. Like that's so good, Like that's like what are like what is there to be? Like I want to pursue science, but I love to draw. So I decided like, okay, let's make stickers and sell them. And like it's so simple. So please do something that you really like you genuinely can do on your free time. And yeah, boss santai aja. Like it's fine. Have fun, enjoy. CAS is supposed to be fun. So yeah, I guess that's all.
Wow, that's actually a pretty great advice. You guys have mentioned plenty of time that time management is a great solution in order to be able to handle all of this schoolwork, especially as an IB student. You guys, I'm not gonna lie, have inspired me a lot. I will definitely start doing my CAS experience from now on.
And do you know what's interesting actually is that me and Felisa are both collaborating for our CAS, which is on the works as we speak. So I take that advice, Regala. I'm doing my CAS right now.
Okay.
Before I
Thank you so much for all of the advice. We greatly appreciate it.
But before we move on, I would like to ask some questions of my own, if that's okay. In terms of your guys' collaboration, how can you build or maintain a good group work? Do you have any conflicts with your partners or teamworks? I'd like to start with Regala.
Ooh, okay. So, I mean, me and Jimmy were relatively nice and civil people. Oh my god, I don't know how to say it other than nice and civil, but I was like, yeah, the idea that we had, it's okay, it's already pretty streamlined, as in oh yeah, it's we know what we're gonna do. So yeah, probably conflicts that occur. Well, it's not exactly conflicts. It's more discussions, kind of discussions and talking, I don't know, discussing out of it, because me and Jimmy, we relatively have not very different, but significantly different art styles, and also we don't have the same um digital platform for drawing. She uses, forgot what she used, but she has her whole setup. I do not have that certain setup. Mostly I just go traditional art and then scan it. And yeah, and then sometimes when we taktokan between the stickers and see what's your idea, and then I show mine and then she shows hers, and it's whoa, it's different. And then we have to tweak it a bit, and from there on, I kind of learned how to be more communicative and more how do I say it? I can accept or I can understand criticism. I can take criticism better. There you go. That's a word. Take criticism better and kind of work together. So yeah. So I guess it's not exactly brantam, conflict, but yeah, it is kind of conflict. So yeah. And also the fact that me and Jemmy are relatively civil and we do not want to bother each other. Sometimes we go to a certain extent where we're weang gaya, weang gaya, gitu kan, should when we're overdue on something, weang gaya, I don't know if I should bother her. It's mostly Jemmy doing that to me, and she's always like that. So yeah, so and yeah, so jangan gaya enakan, jangan gaya enakan, just contact them, be nice about it, of course. So yeah, that's probably one of the conflicts and what I got from that.
That's really great to hear. Actually, it's funny. It's so good how you communicate with each other, very civilized. Because I don't know what I would have done if we had two separate drawings and we had to tweak it a little bit. It's either one or the other. It's either sell this one or this one, or maybe you sell both. Yeah. How about you, Nayanda? Have you ever had conflicts?
Just like Regala, it's not so much conflict, more so that it can be a challenge to communicate, especially when you're communicating full online and you're not meeting each other at school and you can't so easily update each other on what's going on. So there was a time, especially during the busy semester exams, where we kind of put our project on hold. I think it happened to a lot of us too, because again, we get very busy as DP students, right? And also, I guess you need to be aware that if you're working in a group, it isn't always going to go your way. You're not the only one in control, and that's why you need to kind of communicate your point or your ideas or your comments or criticisms really well. Like Regala said, jangan gak enakan, don't hold back, because communication is key. And of course, we had some times when we were kind of misunderstanding each other, or we're kind of confused about the timeline, but all went well because we were able to communicate with each other well. And again, I'm working with people whom I admire, who I like, who I'm really good friends with. So I think that helps a lot. Yeah.
Sorry, that's actually really, really civilized of you. Jangan ganakan, I have to put that in writing.
Okay, hearing all of the process and experience, I believe you guys have been going the ups and downs in your life. So I just want to ask, did you feel any change? Did you notice any change, any improvement, or did you develop new skills after doing the cast process?
Maybe we can start with Naya.
Sure, definitely. I say definitely I've developed some of my skills, especially communication skills, because again, communicating online during the pandemic is no easy feat. And I'm a very anxious person. So communication has always been a challenge for me, but the situation kind of forces me out of my comfort zone. If I wanted this project to work, I have to communicate with my teammates and I have to be able to take risks and kind of put my ideas forward. So definitely that has helped me improve my communication skills. And I think this applies to my other teammates too. Also, it has kind of helped me develop my collaborative skills. I feel like after this project, I have a better idea on like how to organize such big events with a lot of people, because we have a lot of people on our team apart from our founders, which is the three of us, me, Maizan, and Keisha. We also have 7 artists, I believe, and 4 on the design team, which work under Kato. But we all had to communicate, all of us, and I feel like that challenge has really helped me kind of grow as a person. And I think that's true for all of the people who all cast projects. Regala, I think it's true for you too. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely 100%. Like collaborative skills and like communication skills. I mean, I guess for Naya, it's like a way bigger crowd. Like you have to talk to a lot more people. For me, it's just me and Jemmy. It's just me and Jemmy talking to each other. So yeah, it's a little bit different, I guess, but not exactly, you know, not exactly far off from one another. Does that make sense? Yes. So yeah, I feel like, yeah.
What about Mariska? You're just
Sorry,
back.
my internet error for a while. Sorry, what was the question again?
Felisa, would you like to repeat?
Yes, of course. So, hearing all of the experience that you tell us, I believe you guys have been through the ups and downs in life. So, I'm curious, did you notice any change within yourself? Did you like develop new skills, or is there any improvement that you made after doing the cast experience?
Probably, since I've been doing this work in progress series for about how many years now? Like 2 years. I started this work in progress series back in 10th grade while I was doing my personal project, and I'm continuing that right now for my CAS. And I think I've seen my development in terms of like hosting and like talking to talents, and in this cast I was able to branch out juga. From that I was able to get outside of my comfort zone, and since I was in another project called Bub's Kitchen, where we sell food, where it's still like with me and a bunch of my friends. There are me, Kunde, Aiden, Dafa, and Valdine, and you know it's all love. I'm enjoying it so far. Like I enjoy both of this project, and I'm proud of them both, Bob's Kitchen and Sudi Diri. And yeah, I think I see myself improving in this particular project because I was able to branch out and step outside of my comfort zone, but also improving myself and what I did in my previous project. Yeah, that's it.
You said something really interesting actually. We can use what we had in DP, I mean, personal project. Am I
Mhm.
right? That was your
Yes.
personal project.
Yeah, it was. It was.
It was. Studi Didi?
Oh no, but it's different. Sudiri is like
Oh.
an upgraded version of it.
So us actually we can actually use our personal project to continue on with our CAS project.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but like, I tweaked it a bit. Like it's not completely the
Mhm.
same, but it's like, um, I, I kind of upgraded it, made it bigger.
Like the improved version of it.
Yeah, you can say that. You can say that.
I agree. And since we've heard the explanation from each project, and me and Felisa has asked you the questions personally, now let's go straight to the viewers' questions.
Okay, so the first questions is from Devi Natalia. To all speaker, you have done all the stage for the CAS project. If you have to choose, which stage do you find it the most fun and the most challenging one? Maybe we're going to start with you, Nayanda.
Sure. I think I've mentioned this before, but my favorite part and also the most challenging part was the preparation phase. And I feel like my teammates would also agree with me. It was challenging because obviously we need to prepare everything for our exhibition. That involves a lot of communications with our large team. But it was also the most fun because we got to talk to our artists and we got to see so many different perspectives on our theme. I think that was one of the most memorable things about this project. Um, Talking to student artists and also to each other about concepts like altruism, which is the theme of our art exhibition, by the way. And it was like kind of a mini TOK class, but conducted by us. So that was one of my favorite parts of the project. But it is challenging, especially time management wise. Though that being said, I feel like it is the challenges in CAS that help us grow. And I think that's still very valuable. That's a very valuable part of CAS.
I think it's very straightforward that it was your process, your progress of it is the most challenging, but it is the most favorite. Let's move on to Regala.
All right. I guess similar to Naya, my favorite part would be probably the planning and designing stage because that's where all the drawing comes in and all the creativity kind of rolls in. And yeah, and during that time, I got to talk a lot with Jimmy, like, what is our art style? What do we do? So we make like a little Pinterest board and like we like plan and like, oh, what animals do we want to put on our sticker? And then we make the stickers and then we like collect them and then we're like, this is where the show to and then like, hey, it looks really different. Like it looks like two people made it. We can't do that. We can't sell one sticker pack with like, like it looks like it's not uniform in like style. So that's when we panicked, but also like, okay. So I guess that's the most favorite part. And the most challenging part, that was also one of the most challenging parts as well, like the taktokan between me and Jimmy, but also the marketing, like for the Instagram. Like we didn't really know where we were gonna sell. And then after that we were like, wait, you know what's best? And then we're like, just go on Instagram because everyone uses Instagram. And also Shopee because Shopee Pay. And like also supposedly there was supposed to be gratis ongkir, but turns out this was actually one of like a challenge as well. Some people couldn't use the voucher gratis ongkir, so a lot of people that wanted to buy from like Jakarta Barat like had to like pay like extra. It's like not good, not good. The sticker was not the ongkir was like more expensive than the stickers, so that was one of like the challenges. So yeah, but yeah, other than that, it's pretty enjoyable. It was a pretty enjoyable process.
Wow, that's actually pretty interesting. And I guess what makes it much more fun is that you were collaborating with your friend. Now let's move on to Mariska.
Yes. Okay, which day do you find the most fun and challenging one? Okay, there are two. I think the most fun was the shooting process, phase two. You get to meet the talents, and it's very thrilling. It's very exciting, and you're looking forward to that day ever since you started the project. It's kind of like the main goal, like the action, like you know the shooting day. So I think that's the most fun for this project specifically for Studidiri. It's different from my other project, Big Bob's Kitchen, but yeah, for this project, it's the shooting part, and for and I think the most challenging one was the pre-production, which was researching, brainstorming, and setting everything up because you don't want to get it wrong for like the informations and everything because it's very crucial. Because I think researching and getting to know the talents are very important, and you want to get all the things right so you can prepare for the D-Day, which was the shooting. And yes, I think both of those are very challenging for me. And I think for my other team is different for my other team members because post production editing is very, very hard too. And yeah, Naima actually did that part. She's the editor of Studidiri, and yeah, it was a very difficult part, but we were able to, managed to get things done and give our best.
Wow, it sounds very interesting, especially being in a journey with your friends and the talents that have gone through from the first the first meeting to what you are now. I'm sure that's very, you know, um, it's very hard during this pandemic, but I'm sure we all went through the hard times and we are here now, and that's what happens.
Yeah.
You guys have mentioned the most fun and the most challenging part in doing the CAS project, which makes me become more excited to start my CAS project. Okay, now let's move on to the next questions.
This is from Mr. Irfan. Do you guys intend to collaborate with a nonprofit organization or local community in order to make a bigger impact? I would like to start with Regala.
Technically, we already did, but like it's not like big. It's a private, it's small. It's Miss Ochi's little private animal shelter, so it's really small. But it's cute. But I'd love to. I mean, like we contacted Jakarta Animal Aid Network. Oh yeah, and then after that, we haven't heard back from them. I mean, obviously they're pretty big and they have a lot on their hands. Other than these little two kids making stickers and then funding. So, but I'd love to. I'd love to. Well, technically we already have, but if we can branch out more, other than Ochi's Miss Ochi's private animal shelter, I'd love to. Yes. The answer is yes.
I'm sure the real question is, will you continue on with bigger nonprofit
Bigger.
organization? Yeah.
I think okay, that means that can like segue into like okay. Well then I'll definitely continue this project. We already have like other sticker designs on the works and we plan to sell them as well. But again, we don't really know where else to donate to. So, I mean, other than Miss Ochi, of course, but like if we could like donate to way more animal shelters or even other causes, we'd love to do that. Yeah.
That's nice. That's nice. What about Mariska?
Mhm. Collaborate with local community. I think local community is better because not better. I mean like suited for my project. Sorry, I don't mean to discriminate the other one. And sorry for I think for Studidiri specifically, you know. Yeah, I think we will be. It's for a good cause, and our whole project's um, purpose is to help out emerging artists, right? So I think with this, kind of idea, I think it's bisa dicoba. I think it'll work. Yeah.
I feel like with your project, it's more of a personal level. So local community meaning just a simple a community gitu. Jadi
Yeah.
it's very personal for you.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
That's true. What about Nayanda?
Hi. So I think just like Regala, technically we have collaborated with a nonprofit organization, Yayasan Cahaya Pelangi Indonesia. Shout out to them. But I think in the future, if we were to kind of make another chapter for Strands of Carnations, I would definitely love to collaborate with more nonprofit organizations because I think it really goes to show that art can have an impact. And the concept of having making an art exhibition, which also gives back to the community, is something that is quite admirable um, in my opinion. And I think, yeah, I would definitely love to work with more nonprofit organizations and the local community too, because I feel like Indonesian artists need more exposure. We have a lot of talented people in this country. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like based on your explanation, based on your guys' explanation, I'm sure it's a long process, and you guys will definitely want to enlarge your project and want to in order to make a bigger impact to the community. I think like it's the same as taking care of your child, karena kayak kalian bener-bener ngurusin dari mereka masih kecil. So yeah, I'm pretty sure you guys want to make a bigger impact. Now let's move on to the next questions.
The next question. This is from Pak Arju. How can you prevent or manage a conflict among team members during the process of a CAS project? Since before we talked about if you have, now how do you prevent it? Let's start with Mariska.
Hi. How do I prevent conflict? Okay, first I think it's good to have a good communication skill with your partners, with your team members, so you can avoid this conflict thing. I think you just need to talk it out. I think especially myself with my friends in my group and my CAS project, I think it's a comfortable circle like environment, so we can like freely talk about what we feel, what we view differently. So every time we like quote unquote argue, we don't really argue. We just like discuss, like it's not really a conflict, but whenever we see like different opinions or like, oh harus segini nih, harus segini, we listen and we all try to improve it to be better, because at the end of the day it's our project together, right? So nggak bisa sendiri-sendiri, harus bareng-bareng. Jadi I think itu aja sih, communication skill. That's a really important thing to prevent conflict in the project.
And I guess with your CAS project, it's not only with your team members, actually, it's also with your talents.
Yes, that's true. There are a few instances juga di mana harus tektokan sama talents, sama team, and I'm kind of like the middle person here, so like I have to really get the communication thing right biar nggak ada
Miscommunication.
Miscommunication. That's true.
Yeah, I agree. Being the middle person is being the messenger, as they will.
Yeah,
pretty scary. I want to know from Regala.
Honestly, I think personally, there is no way to prevent conflict. Like for me, at least, yeah, there's no way to prevent conflict at some point. But what you can prevent is like a breaking out. Like I'm not like maksudnya kayak berantem gitu. Like the only way you can do it is again like what Mariska said. Yeah, you just have to be very open. And again, jangan gak enakan. But you also have to understand. I mean, gimana ya? Karena kayak if you're in a collaborative team, you just you're two different people. Like, I mean, like, as much as maybe you guys are like besties or something, like, even if you're besties, you probably still have different opinions and different viewpoints. And the only way to kind of like prevent like misinformation, which can lead to conflict later on, the only way you can do that is by actually being open and being nice and and when you're criticizing something, be nice about it. I mean, be constructive about it. And since this is a project, don't take it too personally. You know what I mean? Like sometimes, like especially for me and for Jimmy, because it's like art. It's kind of like a little bit iffy between both of us. Like, but like at the same time, it's our project. It's just a project. It's just our arts. It's just our doodles. It's fine, and it's for the market. It's for the consumption of the market. Like, don't take it too personally. Don't take criticism too personally. So you don't like have any bad emotions between one another. So yeah. How about Naya? I think we have another addition.
I think both of you, Mareska and Regala, you guys have kind of said everything. Definitely, I agree with Regala. Don't take things too personally. And I know they're your friends that you're collaborating with, but there are times where you can be more personal. There are times where you need to be professional with them, right? And I definitely agree with Regala about, don't take criticism too personally. See criticism as more an opportunity for you to grow rather than an attack on yourself. And I feel like once you get into that mindset, it's a lot easier to work with people. Communicate your expectations with your teammates and don't be afraid to criticize them either, because it'll really prevent kind of an emotional falling out later during the project. I think that's definitely an important part of it. And I've said this before, but maintaining a good relationship with your teammates is sort of like dating. Sometimes you're going to need to compromise, sometimes you need to communicate, but at the end of the day, you need to have a lot of respect for your teammates. Try to put yourself in their shoes too. That is, without letting them cross your boundaries. I think that is the most important thing.
Okay, you guys have mentioned, I believe you guys have mentioned before that communication is one of the fun part in doing the CAS process, and it much greater that turns out is one of the biggest solution in order to prevent and manage conflict. So I believe communication is the key. Okay, I think that is the end of our first sessions in 2022 CAS Exhibition Project Talk. Thanks to Nayanda, Regala, and Mariska for sharing your experience and inspiring us. I hope you are just as inspired as we are, because we will soon be in those fields. Thank you so much for your time. Greatly appreciate that.
That's it from me, Jane.
And Felisa.
But don't forget that we still have the second session of the CAS Project Talk with more inspiring stories from 3 more CAS Project Talk, hosted by our friends Andy Azlia and Zea. Also, a video of all the CAS projects are displayed on our Instagram. Therefore, don't forget to follow our Instagram page at Cikal CAS_exhibition. But before we end the session, there will be a video or we're going to watch the testimonies from our alumni. So stay tuned. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much, Naya, Regala, and Mariska.
I think people misunderstand CAS a lot. And I say that because I think a lot of people see CAS as something that's completely supplementary and something that is completed just for the sake of completing it for graduating. But I think that's because people don't see CAS as something that could be beneficial for their own personal growth or something that can work with their own personal benefit. And that was when CAS changed for me. CAS changed for me when I saw that I could use it for my own personal growth. And what I mean by that was that in doing CAS, in joining organizations specifically for the school production, or in making clubs that are discussing creative things and even exercising, I instilled sort of a responsibility in me, and I instilled a sort of disciplinarian feeling in me, and I instilled a new sense of resilience and creativity that I think brought me here now. And it honestly, as weird as it sounds, CAS changed me. I think because of the way that I executed CAS, the way that I tailored CAS to me, and the way that I made CAS aligning with my own personal goals, which was to, for example, get healthier, to build organizational skills, build networking skills. I'm able to use what I got from CAS, come out of my shell that I was sort of stuck in high school, come out the rut, and that was stuck in high school, and come out of it as sort of a better person. And I graduated as a completely different person than when I started in 2019. I became someone who was more inclined to open up and to get what I want. And I think that's all thanks to CAS, because CAS really pushed me, because I was able to grow on my own pace while also knowing that I would be graded for it, even though I didn't take the test. So yeah, I think CAS really changed me, because I mean, now I feel like without it, I wouldn't be holding 4 organizations. I wouldn't be networking my way through new opportunities. And I just don't think that I have the same opportunities that I have now. And I genuinely think that my college life would be vastly different if CAS hadn't pushed me to come out of my shell and work on myself in my own pace. So I'm very grateful that I had those 2 years to myself to grow through the activity or the program that is CAS.
Hello everyone, my name is Basha and I was class of 2020 in Cikal Amri. Today I study BA Politics and Sociology in the University of Exeter, England. During my CAS days, I made a Model UN conference as my CAS project, and although I did have another project previously in year 11 where I was interning in a publication firm, the Model UN conference was the one that override it all. From years of planning and postponing from our seniors, I managed to make it happen with a group of my friends and other people who have since graduated to make it happen. And even though it was an internal conference only in 2019, right before the stroke of COVID, I was really happy that we were able to hold it and manage it together. Of course, it doesn't come short with a challenge though. Throughout the conference's planning and management, we had to muster and muscle through different types of problems and issues, from staying up late from printing to actually organizing logistical shortages. But that managed to get me to the position I am today, which is also becoming part of my university's Model UN committee, where I hold a position as a press and publicity officer. Good luck with your CAS exhibition, everyone! Da!
Hi everyone, my name is Chaya, and I think the most memorable experience I've had with CAS was being a part of the student council, because it allowed me to work with so many other passionate students who love the school, and being a part of events like Cikal Cup and Cikal Carnival truly shows you the kind of school spirit and sense of community that the school has, and it was just overall a very amazing experience. I think this has helped me propel to be a better person in the future, because I learned so many new soft skills, and I also learned so much about myself and sort of what I enjoyed and my strengths and my weaknesses. And to be able to know those things about yourself makes it so much easier for you to develop into a better person in the future. And not to mention, these things add up to your CV, and universities love passionate people and long CVs. So I think overall it's just a really, really great experience.
If I were to describe CAS in 3 words,
Three words.
Three words.
Three words.
Three words.
Three words.
Activity.
Awareness, beneficial, and balanced.
Challenge.
It challenges you to take responsibility.
Challenging.
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 Or challenging.
Challenging. Collaborative.
Collaborative.
Collaboration.
Commitment. Communication.
Community. Explores your creativity.
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 It helps you develop certain skills.
Disciplined.
Engaging.
Enjoyable and motivating.
Enjoyable.
Enlightening.
Excited.
Exciting.
Exciting.
Experiences.
Experience.
New experiences.
Exploration.
Exploration.
Fun.
It was fun.
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 And fun.
Fulfilling.
Happy.
And also hectic.
Help me to learn new things.
Interest.
Joy. Knowledge.
Meaningful.
And meaningful.
It's all about nurture.
Optimistic.
And passionate.
Passion.
And personal.
Productive.
Productivity.
Productivity.
Productive.
And reflective.
To resolve.
Service.
Slim.
Teamwork.
Timetable.
Useful.
And self-reflection.
misunderstand CAS a lot. And I say that because I think a lot of people see CAS as something that's completely supplementary and something that is completed just for the sake of completing it for graduating. But I think that's because people don't see CAS as something that could be beneficial for their own personal growth or something that can work with their own personal benefit. And that was when CAS changed for me. CAS changed for me when I saw that I could use it for my own personal growth. And what I mean by that was that in doing CAS, in joining organizations for specifically for the school production, or in making clubs that are discussing creative things and even exercising, I instilled sort of a responsibility in me, and I instilled a sort of disciplinarian feeling in me, and I instilled a new sense of resilience and creativity that I think brought me here now. And it honestly, as weird as it sounds, CAS changed me. I think because of the way that I executed CAS, the way that I tailored CAS to me, and the way that I made CAS aligning with my own personal goals, which was to, for example, get healthier, to build organizational skills, build networking skills. I'm able to use what I got from CAS, come out of my shell that I was sort of stuck in high school, come out the rut, and that was stuck in high school, and come out of it as sort of a better person. And I graduated as a completely different person than when I started in 2019. I became someone who was more inclined to open up and to get what I want. And I think that's all thanks to CAS, because CAS really pushed me, because I was able to grow on my own pace while also knowing that I would be graded for it, even though I didn't take the test. So yeah, I think CAS really changed me, because I mean, now I feel like without it, I wouldn't be holding for organizations. I wouldn't be networking my way through new opportunities. And I just don't think that I have the same opportunities that I have now. And I genuinely think that my college life would be vastly different if CAS hadn't pushed me to come out of my shell and work on myself in my own pace. So I'm very grateful that I had those 2 years to myself to grow through the activity or the program that is CAS.
Hello everyone, my name is Basha and I was class of 2020 in Cikal, Amri. Today I study BA Politics and Sociology in the University of Exeter, England. During my CAS days, I made a Model UN conference as my CAS project. And although I did have another project previously in year 11 where I was interning in a publication firm, the Model UN conference was the one that override it all. From years of planning and postponing from our seniors, I managed to make it happen with a group of my friends and other people who have since graduated to make it happen. And even though it was an internal conference only in 2019, right before the stroke of COVID, I was really happy that we were able to hold it and manage it together. Of course, it doesn't come short with a challenge though. Throughout the conference's planning and management, we had to muster and muscle through different types of problems and issues, from staying up late from printing to actually organizing logistical shortages. But that managed to get me to the position I am today, which is also becoming part of my university's Model UN committee, where I hold a position as a press and publicity officer. Good luck with your CAS exhibition, everyone! Da!
Hi everyone, my name is Chaya, and I think the most memorable experience I've had with CAS was being a part of the student council, because it allowed me to work with so many other passionate students who love the school, and being a part of events like Cikal Cup and Cikal Carnival truly shows you the kind of school spirit and sense of community that the school has. And it was just overall a very amazing experience. I think this has helped me propel to be a better person in the future, because I learned so many new soft skills, and I also learned so much about myself and sort of what I enjoyed and my strengths and my weaknesses. And to be able to know those things about yourself makes it so much easier for you to develop into a better person in the future. And not to mention, these things add up to your CV, and universities love passionate people and long CVs. So I think overall it's just a really, really great experience.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the 2022 CAS Exhibition Project Talk, the beginning event of this year's CAS Exhibition with the team Big Differences, Start small because big changes starts with little actions. And welcome to the second session of today's project talk. I'm Zaya.
And I'm Zia, and we will be the moderators for this session. Now, I would like to remind you that in this project talk, we'll be taking a total of 6 representatives from all the 35 projects from the year 12 CAS. 3 of whom you've met in the first session with Jade and Feliza, and 3 more you'll meet very, very soon. To see all of the other amazing 29 projects, which were shown in that awesome video you've just watched, please head over to the CAS exhibition IG page at @CicalCAS_exhibition to check out more interesting projects.
That's right, Zia. You guys will be able to check out all of the incredibly interesting projects from all of our Year 12 seniors. And Zia, I heard that there are 3 CAS project categories. What are they?
That's right, Zaya. We have 3 interesting and amazing project categories such as community, environment, and arts and literature.
Ah, I see. And don't forget, people, not only for Cikal students, everyone will be able to see the offline exhibition from 28 January to 4 February. So make your calendar and make sure you stop by.
Don't forget, and I would like to remind everyone joining this talk that you are invited to write your questions in the comment section because our speakers will be answering them later on.
And I'm sure you're all very excited and cannot wait any longer to meet the representatives for our second session. So, Zia, who do we have for today's session?
We have 3 brilliant and amazing students with their projects. So first, we have Alia with her project Literature Stick that falls under the category of podcasts. Hi, Alia.
Hi.
Hi all.
Hi, so excited to talk about your project with you. Next, we have Gifari with his project Bumi Teman Kita that falls under the category of environment. Hi, Gifari.
Hi there. What's up? Hi.
Hi, and last but not least, we have Iza with her project Cikal MUN that falls under the category of school organization. Hi, Iza.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hey, how
Good
are you all?
morning.
Good morning.
Doing good, doing good. How about you?
We're doing
How's
Great.
good.
everyone here?
We're doing good.
Okay, to start off, Alia, could you please introduce yourself and briefly explain to us about your project, Literaturistic?
Of course. So I'm Alia. I'm obviously a year 12 student from Cikal. My CAS project is called Literaturistic, and it is a podcast where me and my co-host, which is my friend Alifa, that chose to do this project as a CAS experience. So I'm actually doing this alone, where we discuss issues that are presented in literature and also discourse in the online community.
Oh, I see. So you're kind of making something out of your passion, something that you like talking about. That's really what CAS is all about, yeah, to make the process happy and joyful. I think that's really what CAS is all about. Thank you, Alia. Next up, we have Gifari. Can you tell us a bit more about your eco-friendly or your will to help tackle the environment issues? Bumi Teman Kita. What is it about?
Oh yeah, sure. Bumi Teman Kita is a webinar that focuses on 2 issues that I think Indonesia struggles with. I think those issues are climate change, specifically global warming, and access to clean water. So I want to shed some light or shed more light into these issues in order to set up my future and the future of other people's. This is not only my fight, these are the fight of other people. So I think the best course of action is to learn more about the issue before we tackle them, just in case we know not as much as we thought we
Yes.
did.
Great. You're so awesome with how you actually do something with what you're passionate in and also like advocating with Kifari. So kudos to you. And lastly, we have Iza. What is Cikal MUN and what is the goal that drives your project?
So, Chikal MUN is basically a continued project that has already happened since 2019. And as you can see, it's a model United Nation where a lot of delegates from multiple schools, from the same school, all participate together to engage in socially relevant discussions where you can talk about many, many issues that imposes you and strikes you as a student or even strikes you in your future career. Aside from that, I was able to do the Chika MUN with a lot of the alumni that you just saw. And I also got to do it with my peers and my friends, and also some of the upperclassmen when I was in year 11. So you can also check out the Chikal MUN and the processes in our Instagram account. It's called at Chikal MUN. Be sure to, see it because it's really cute and I'm sure regret it. So yeah, thank you.
Yes, guys, don't forget to check out their Instagram, okay? They have really, really cute feeds. Okay, and thank you, Isa. And now we are going to jump straight into the Q&A section.
Okay, so we already have a couple of questions in hand right now, but we're going to answer a couple from the comments too. So make sure for the viewers watching this YouTube live right now to write down your questions in the comment section. But first, we both have prepared some interesting questions about your project. So first off, we have a question for Alia.
Yes, Alia. First of all, I gotta say that your podcast, it's top notch, it's top quality. You and your co-host Alifa, you guys are such a natural at this, and it's hard to believe that it's your first time making a podcast because you guys did such an incredible job. Seriously, like, kudos to you. Okay, and moving on. My question for you is, how did you and Alifa come up with the topics? And is there any specific topics out of all the 11 episodes that you aired on Spotify that you love the most and you find it most interesting? Well, first of all, thank you so much for the compliments. Uh, so maybe I should talk a little bit more about my goals for this project. So I started because, as you can probably see from my background, I've loved reading since I was a child, and I think it's very sad how a lot of people still have the mindset that oh, reading is boring, literature is boring, and I really wanted to change that kind of way of thinking. So with this podcast, I wanted to encourage other people, especially teenagers, to read more and also show the appeal of not only reading but also the reading community, which is very like active and is a very diverse group of people that is really fun that I've been a part of for quite a long time. So how did me and my co-host come up with the topics? I think it came to us pretty naturally, and we actually have a lot of topics that we haven't even gotten a chance to discuss at all. Uh, it just came out of us, I guess. We just kind of talked, and we just came up with so much topics because I feel like the both of us were very active in the online book community, for example, on Twitter or on Instagram, and we see these topics being discussed, and we also want to put our 2 cents in it. And yeah, for my favorite topic, I genuinely love all of the things that we talked about, but I would say I really liked the episode where we talked about the glorification of abusive romance in books. So yeah.
Funny thing, I do have a question about that episode because I listened and watched that podcast episode of yours, which is about the glorification of toxic romance in art and literature. So it's funny how social media has kind of brought everyone together, with the same interest, and how you have like your own online community through Twitter or I don't know, any media that you use. It's so interesting how social media does play a big part. But apart from that, it's also because it's been like your passion since you were little. You love reading books and you hate the stereotype that, books are boring and stuff like that because they have so many morals inside them. That's really interesting. Okay, back to my question. So I did watch your episode about the glorification of toxic romance in arts and literature. So my question is, what pushed you to talk about that topic? Like, does it correlate to you, or do you absolutely like hate the glorification of toxic romance? You think it's a bad thing? Like, what do you think?
Well, thank you for listening. But I would say my correlation with it isn't like, oh, I've experienced bad romance in real life. It's more of like, I feel like me and my co-host were not really the biggest fan of the romance genre in general. And interestingly, it's one of the most popular genres in the community. And with that, there's a lot of topics, especially the ones that I talked about, glorifying abuse and stuff like that, that isn't talked about enough or is kind of just brushed under the rug. So yeah, that's why I chose the topic. Also, I think it's very relevant, especially for teenagers, to also kind of be critical of the media that they consume and realize that, oh, maybe we should question these things that they depict, and yeah, just think about it more.
Consume wisely. A very nice message of yours, Alia. Thank you so much for your feedback. Okay, next we have Gifare with his project Bumi Teman Kita. Okay, first of all, your project is stunning. It's just amazing. the whole purpose behind it is just so, I don't know, it gives me like a very caring aura of you, Gipari. Especially you bring up something that's really, really critical right now, the climate change and a lot of environment issues. So thank you for that. So my question is, at in such a young age, what was your main motive in initiating this project, and how important are the are the topics you're talking about in your webinar? Like, how important do you think it is for us to help tackle those issues?
Okay, so let's start with my motives. I'm, to put it simply, I've grown up with nature and I've enjoyed and cared for nature for quite some time, since like what 9 or 10 years old. There's just something that just makes me gravitate towards it. Maybe it's the scientific aspect, maybe it's the visual or beautiful aspect of it, but all in all, I just appreciate the natural world for what it is. And I think it's responsible for us, the most intelligent species in this planet, to care for it. But the opposite seems to be happening with the destruction of natural habitats, the mismanagement of resources, and all that. So I want to tackle issues that are relevant in what is the fourth most populated country in this planet, Indonesia, and set issues like I said, that climate change and lack of access to clean water. I think by focusing on this, I not only show that am passionate about what I believe in or care for, but at the same time, I am showing that I can play my part in helping the world without being a scientist or not. Like I want to be a scientist, but at the same time, I don't have the access or the skill set to be one immediately. So I'm taking small steps, and I'm using said small steps to motivate others to take said steps along with me. If that makes sense.
Right. Thank you, Gifari. I think we all can see that he's very passionate about this. As he
Yeah.
mentioned before, he loves nature and he wants to be a scientist one day. And I also love the way you actually care about it and act upon it. And you inspire a lot of others in the process as well. That is very, very admirable of you, Gifari.
I know, and
Okay, my question.
let's pray that someday Gifari can be someone big, so he has all the capacity to actually help change and make big changes. Like I pray
Yes.
that for you, because you do have all the capability, all the potential to be that someone big.
That's
Yes.
nice. Like, this is just like one step to my vision, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, and moving on. My question for you is, after the webinar, do you have any plans for the future to continue advocating for access to water and climate change, or maybe other global issues that you may find interest in? Have you planned out your next move?
My move immediately after the webinar was to practice what I preach. I turn off the shower or the faucet when I'm not using it. I dispose of trash in the right place. Those are small steps, but small steps matter if they have a big impact. One domino just immediately pushes everything if it's toppled onto the wrong direction. So that's my first step, right? To be careful of what I dispose and use of, especially if they're natural resources. My next step is to try and get myself an admission on a university of my choice, specifically a university that allows me to exercise and refine my skills as a scientist, specifically biologist. And I want to pick that because I wanted to be a marine biologist. I've wanted to be one since like such a very young age, 8, I think. And I've held onto this vision for so long. People are telling me that the oceans are barely known, and that I believe that if we can discover more about the ocean, I think there's a lot of things we can do with it that can benefit humanity. And on the retrospect, there's a lot of things that we can do to benefit it back through conservation efforts and through establishing guidelines so others can act mindfully. Now, what environmental issue that I want to handle? I want to handle ocean acidification. So baseline, the ocean is slowly turning into a big pool of acid because of carbon emissions from human activity, like driving cars or the processing of certain products because of factories. Now, like I said, I have a big gravitation towards the ocean and the inhabitants and habitats of it. So I wanted to focus on that by being a scientist, which I am currently working on. And if I can at least find a way to hamper the effects of ocean acidification, then I guess I can consider that another step in my vision, but a much bigger step.
Right. Thank you, Gifari. So you're doing small steps so that you can help specifically in the ocean acidification, if I'm not mistaken. We are staying tuned for that. We are excited for your future, and we hope that you can become a marine biologist.
Already.
Okay. And last but not least, it's Isa's time with her project, Cikal MUN. You know, I'm a fan of MUN, even though I might not have many experiences with it. You know, so when I found out that there was a CAS project for it, I was so stoked. You know, and with that note, my question for you is: after experiencing it as the person in charge of the event, what new insights that you have gained after seeing others voicing other opinions? You know, giving different perspectives on the same matter. What did you learn from the Cikal MUN?
I think I learned a lot about potential, especially amongst the students. A lot of the Sekolah Cikal students, they participated in the MUN, whether the internal one or the external one, right? And they were able to really push themselves out of their comfort zone, which I was very proud of seeing. I mean, of course, as a Cikal student, if you see other students, thriving, especially in these kind of discussions, you know that they're actually listening and they actually want to be heard as well. So I think one of the things that I mostly learned from it was like first the potential that the students carry, and second, um, is that carrying an MUN and the side of a delegate and in the side of a secretary general is vastly different. Because being a secretary general means that you have to overlook so many people. You have to make sure that all the processes are going to where it belongs. And aside from that, being a delegate, the pressure is real, but at the same time, being a secretary general, the pressure is you have to continue and make up the event to be mm, as you want it to be. It doesn't have to be perfect, but as you expect it at least. So I think those are the two main things. How how I learned about leadership in the position of secretary general and the potential that the students have.
Oh, I see. So you organizing this whole event really does you learn a lot of stuff again and again, just by creating this event, and like you kind of witness students, striking their potential and the voices that they have, which is, I think it's something beautiful to witness. Okay, so I think, like, frankly, you're always someone I'm reminded of every time there is, something related to MUN or debate stuff or WSJ. Like, it always reminds me of you and our alumni Basha, like I said before. So my question is, as someone who is, someone who I think is who has a lot of experience in MUN, what do you think are like the main or the most significant benefits of joining MUN? Because I feel like MUN is like an all-in-one. Like you get to develop so many skills of yours during this process, of debating or like meeting other delegates and like talking to them. Like, what do you think are the most significant benefits?
I think the most significant benefits if you join an MUN is first, you'll get to have to improve your public speaking skills since in the entire conference you'll have to be discussing about the issue. Aside from that, I think your confidence can be gained because whenever you're speaking, slowly but surely you're going to to be certain about what you say and truly stand to where you believe, right? As a delegate especially. And if you continue to follow MUNs, you're going to see and you're going to learn so much about the world that you didn't know of before. For example, one of the councils that I had was regarding police brutality, and then we moved along to another council which also had ocean acidification as one of the main issues. And I think that really says something about MUN that you can learn a vast majority of topics in a single council, and you don't even have to be the most intellectual person in the room to actually discuss about it. And aside from that, I think the most important thing that you learn about MUN is like there is no judgment to your opinion. As much as you feel like maybe there is, I think the most important thing that people tend to forget in MUN is that it's not a competition; it's a discussion. A lot of the times, people would like to win best delegate. They would like to get the honorable mention and outstanding delegate. But at the end of the day, when you're working together and then when you're actually being committed and putting initiation within those fields of discussion, in those ideas that you bring up within the council, those really mean a lot more than gaining the awards. Like the award is the bonus, but what the knowledge that you get out of these councils is the main difference that you'll be taking along with you for the rest of your life. So yeah.
That's right. Like I think like I've joined like one of the internal MUN, like the Cikal internal MUN ones, in 2019 I believe, and I feel like at that time I was so pressured to like win. At the second I was like so pressured because I have so many other experienced people in the room, who which they've like gone to competitions or they've experienced like uh, World Scholar Cup or stuff like that. Like I'm always so pressured about it. I feel like people often forget that the whole concept of immune is like a simulation as country leaders for you to practice to voice your opinions. And I feel like if someone wins as the best delegate, it should simply everyone wins because you guys like find like the right solution for every country's like problems. I feel like that's the always a misconception of MU1, which I'm like agreeing to. So if you're watching this right now, this is why you should never get too pressured about like judgment because MUN is all about learning. It's all about developing the skills that you already have, and it's about meeting new people. So it's fun. So yeah, I do think the same way as Isa.
Yes. Okay. So I think that's all the question for each of you, like individually. Now we have a question for all of you. Since you guys already went through this whole cast process, we believe that you have a rich and deep understanding about cast itself. So
What piece of advice will you give us, your junior, which is us, who are going through their CAS process, and like basically what advice can you give all of us? Like an important advice.
Okay, maybe I'll start. Yeah. Most important thing is to start early. I cannot tell you this enough. I started my CAS project in year 11, and I'm so grateful that I started in year 11 because when you're in year 12, the amount of time management that you have to struggle is quite difficult because you're being chased for a lot of things and a lot of deadlines. Am I right? Aside from that, I think the most important thing is also to pick from the smallest things that you like. So you don't have to always go big and go home. You know, it doesn't have to be that kind of mentality. You can literally pick anything that you think you're good at. For example, if you like baking, you want to sell something, you're gonna earn some kind of strand from that. So I think you don't need to go from the biggest ideas, like just like the theme, big differences start small. You can always go from the small ideas and then continue to develop that afterwards. So I think choosing something you like will definitely make the flow of your cast project a lot less burdening because it's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be enjoyable. And it's gonna be hard, but if you can enjoy the process, that'll be even greater.
yes, okay. We agree because time does fly fast, especially if you're an IPDP student or like an IBDP full student. With all of the unit tests, the semester exams, just kind
Topic
of feels like
changes.
yeah, like you have all of the time in the world, but at the same time you don't. So it's kind of frustrating. So yeah, start early, guys. Noted. Thank you so much, Isa. And how about you, Alia? What advice would you give us as a junior?
I first of all, I agree with Isa. Start early. Fun fact about my project is that I accidentally misread the timeline, so that's why I started it at like January 2021, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, and I think another thing to note is that if you're doing a collaboration, make sure to not only do it with friends that you like and you can work with, but also with people that is trustworthy in a way, because yes, you can do it with your friends, but what if every time you meet you end up like just talking and gossiping or something like that, right? So yeah, I think that's very important to note. And if you are doing it collaboratively, you should also don't be afraid to take initiative, especially if you're with your friends and you don't know, oh, who should we follow, because a leader is needed for a reason, right? But also an important part of being a leader is to also listen to other people and their advice, their opinions, and to take that into consideration. So yeah, that's my advice.
I see. So that's basically how you kind of made. I feel like the ones I've got so far is like doing something based of your passion, and then kind of following the timeline, and then also doing stuff early, because you have a lot in your table. When you're 12, like it feels like it's easy. It feels like you can do it anytime. Because CAS is so. I feel like uh, it's like a free spirited project, I think, if you know what I mean. Like, I think you have a lot of time. But yeah, I do agree with Isa and Alia so far. Okay, next up we have Gifari. Gifari, what do you think? What advice can you give us?
I was going to afford advices, but then I guess Isa took my first one that they do what you like. Is then you wouldn't be pressured too much and you're comfortable with it. So I guess I have three more advices then. So I guess my first advice would be to set up schedules or reminders, deadlines, you name it. Basically, keep track of what you're going to do and plan ahead of what you're going to do. Like make sure you know what you're doing, and if you know what you're doing, make sure that you write them down as a timetable or as a checklist, any form of text that can keep you reminded or posted on what your next course of action should be and what your next course of actions after that should be. This is something that I've developed, and this is something that have helped me in my CAS project because it is something that because that way I can keep up with myself and not procrastinate too much. It helped practically, and it also helped the collaborators that are in my project. So if you're collaborating with someone, make sure that this applies to them as well, and check in if they have any other events so that they won't collide with your timetable. Now, my second one is to connect as much as you can with your friends or collaborators. This is something that I unfortunately didn't do as much in my project, I'll admit, but I stressed this as much as I could. Please make sure that whoever you're collaborating with, friend or someone else outside of your school, make sure that they are as posted as they are with you. Make sure they are in touch with you as possible and vice versa. Both of you or all of you need to know what you're doing. All of you need to know what vision or goal you're working to, and all of you need to know what it would eventually look like, what would the product would look like. Make sure that they are, how to put this, make sure that they are constantly updated with every single progress as possible so that they would know just as much what to do next. Last but not least is to take a break sometimes. I'm not saying you should laze around after this or procrastinate after one big step. I'm saying that you're still human in the end, so do not stress yourself too much. Don't push yourself beyond your limit. Stress is good, but if you stress yourself too much, you would eventually reach a point where you would have way too much mental or emotional baggage to juggle, and that can drag you down from making any more progress. The way I see it, we're like cars or trains or bikes. We have fuel, we have this limited amount of gas that we can spend, and we can't just use them all in a quick burst, or else we'll eventually run out and we can't move anymore. We have to use it slowly, move it and slowly. Otherwise, we won't be able to reach our destination. So to recap, have a schedule or a deadline. Be sure and make sure to connect as much with your friends or collaborators for updates and progress, and try not to overwork yourself. These are my advices.
Thank you so much, Gifari. So as he mentioned before, do what you like, and also set up a timetable, guys. Like, don't be lazy. Set up a timetable. Make an organized, well plan for your CAS project, and also like collaborate with someone with good communication is also very very important. And take a break every once in a while. It's very important to take care of your mental health. Okay, and that is all from us. Since we've already heard the explanations from each of your projects, we will go straight to the YouTube comment section.
The first question is, hi guys. Hi, Pajeri. I believe that you all have a lot of things to do besides CAS. And even some of you have more than one project for CAS. So how do you manage to how do you manage your time for CAS, to study, etc.? Maybe some tips, like how do you balance your school life and, I mean, CAS is cool, but like, your other stuff. than CAS? Starting from Alia, maybe?
Sure. I feel like we've already mentioned that you should maybe like one of the first things you should do is make a timetable for your CAS project, but also how to manage your time well. Also consider make kind of like a leeway if that makes sense because from the first speakers, one of them mentioned that their time kind of matches up with the semester exams. So maybe make also like some other solutions. Oh, if we can't do it at this date, then maybe we can move it forward or move it backwards into another date. So yeah, just make some kind of leeway for your schedule. That's my advice. Okay, thank you so much. So you have to keep in mind like when is your busiest week, like for example, for semester exams, you should avoid that week for your CAS project, right? So thank you, Alia. Moving on to Isa.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that I can say is if you keep everything in your mind, nothing will be productive, right? So think of it this way: CAS is a project. You also have school besides that, and I think the best thing to think about it is just uh, try to do everything one by one. Don't force yourself to do all of it. And just like Alia said, make sure that you're doing it in a timeline where it's actually comfortable for you. Because if you don't, I bet you will regret it so much. So be sure that you're comfortable with the pacing because at the end of the day, this is your project. So even if you're a bit late, that's fine. You can compromise all the time. But at the same time, remember to do it one by one. And I'm going to assure you that that is the best way to manage your time and the best way to manage, the mental strains that you probably have from IBDP as well.
Okay, so to kind of manage your time and know when's your busiest week, to do things one at a time, yeah, because I feel like even though we think we can do it, sometimes we might forget other things and it'll just all mess the whole plan and the whole, plot of doing your stuff. Okay, thank you so much, Isa. And lastly, we have Gifari. Sorry, this is the last. Tadi Isa is the last, right?
No, I'm
No,
still
Gifari belum.
Oh,
right.
Gifari. Okay.
I think everyone else is stressed is as much. Timetable, first and foremost. Timetables are important to me. Like I said, you need one for your project. Like everyone practically said here. With a timetable, you know like, at what time you should prioritize or shift your priority to your CAS project. The way I see it, with a timetable, you can easily juggle between your schoolwork, like other school stuff, like your assignments, or even little exam preparation, and then your CAS project would be sometime after or before. A timetable is exactly what it practically your second clock, if I can say it. It keeps you reminded of what time you should shift your focus to CAS and at what time you can go back to school or anywhere else. That and make sure you work yourself at a pace that won't it will tire you out in the long run or make you lose interest in the project eventually. So yes, keep a timetable to remember when to focus on CAS and when not to, and also make sure you work in a pace that minimizes the amount of stress or minimizes the amount of unneeded loss of energy and maximizes the amount of output, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. So, again, timetable, like so what time you have to prioritize your CAS project, what time to prioritize your school, and you can allocate the time for each of the priority. So, thank you for the answers, guys. So, next question is considering the pandemic we are currently in, how were you able to ensure that your CAS project will be able to work well and reach your targeted audience? From starting with Isa.
I think her Wi-Fi is a bit. I think she has a trouble with her connection. Okay.
Okay.
I guess we'll just move on to Alia first.
Yes.
I feel like this question doesn't really apply to my project because a podcast, I do
Okay, can
everything.
everyone
I
hear
do
me?
everything in my room. Oh,
Hopefully
Isa.
you can.
Okay. So maybe Isa can tell her wisdom
Yes.
to the audience.
I think it's okay. I think Alia can go first. I think she didn't hear the question earlier.
Okay, so as I said, I feel like my CAS project doesn't really apply to this question, but I think how would you ensure that your CAS project would be able to work well? Maybe this is maybe like make it flexible. Like for example, oh, if your initial plan was to do it offline or something, maybe try to make a platform where you can do it online and reach your target audience. I feel like use social media well because who doesn't use social media nowadays, right? And yeah, I think that's all I can say.
Yeah, using social media as the primary tool to spread, or like to talk to advocate your project. I feel like it's also important for you to take a good use of social media because during the pandemic I feel like social media kind of brought us all together, and it's endless opportunity. It's like you can reach endless target audience through social media. Thank you, Alia. So next up, should we move on to Gifari?
And this is how were you able to ensure that your project will be able to work well and reach your target audience? In my project, I hosted several team meetings with my collaborators to check on the progress we have and see what other updates we can use to tweak to the project with. Basically, we revise our project as much as we can according to what the group thinks is right. So with the team meeting, we show the current progress, like I said, and then we discuss what changes can be made and why they should be made. I think this works very well if you have a project that has more than people working in it. But if you have a CAS supervisor, then this should work just as fine. Basically, try to check in with what others think is right, like what others think would make a good product. Because in the end, this is something that would be presented to others, and this is not just something that you yourself would enjoy, but something that others should as well. So yeah, check in with what others think is right and discuss and tweak as much as you can based on group revision.
Yes. Okay. So basically, like constant feedbacks from others. Thank you, Gifari. And last for Isa, especially for MUN, like you guys usually do it in offline, right? Like, how were you able to make this work well and reach your target audience?
I think the first thing that we did was actually get someone on board who was actually present in the online community, such as Discord. And aside from that, we learned a lot of the times from school events on using Zoom. So those two options were already given to us from the beginning because most of the members within the MUN team already had somewhat of an experience with it. Aside from that, I think the most beneficial way onto ensuring that your CAS project would be able to work well is to always communicate around your team because if you don't have good communication, so many mishaps, so many misunderstandings can happen. And secondly, be resilient. So when things don't go your way, learn to compromise. I think from CAS alone, there was a lot there was a lot of things that I miscalculated that I also hadn't planned but didn't happen in the MUN on the final day. And you unfortunately, although it bothers you, you can't let it bother you for too long. You still have to reach back up on your feet and continue it either way. And I think the way we got to actually reach our target audience was having questionnaires beforehand to understand what our target audience wanted. So basically, very, very similar to marketing is to make sure that you're out and about, to make sure that you are present in the online sphere, just like what Alia said. So it will reach your target audience. And at the end of the day, if you're resilient and confident in what you do, then I guarantee you that your CAS project, even though it might look a bit slippy sloppy then and there, but it will still be all the worthwhile to do.
to be resilient, we don't. I feel like people don't often think about like how you should just reevaluate when things doesn't go your way. Like it's okay when it happens. It always happens. Okay. And last but not least, we have another question. So it is, bagaimana perasaan Isa setelah kamu menyelesaikan CAS project, and apakah kamu merasa stres atau happy waktu kamu mengerjakan CAS projectnya? Oh, this question is from Fasha, our fellow Cikal student for Iza. I think we can also ask this question to everyone else, but we can start with Iza.
Well, to be honest, I think I felt most relieved that it happened because when I was doing the MUN, the preparation step was so long and getting through it all with the committee was such a blast at the same time, such a challenge because it was all online. I felt very relieved. At the same time, I felt very happy and proud of seeing where the committee had led us and seeing of, how my work and their work and basically everyone's contribution, even outside of Chikal, actually helped to bring the CAS project alive. I felt very well. I feel both. I feel very stressed, but also happy while doing it. Like I didn't force myself on the CAS project. Instead, I was just doing it willingly because I enjoyed it when doing it. Although maybe sometimes I might get stressed, but it never occurred to me as badly because, like I said, when you enjoy your project, any amount of stress you can overcome. So yeah.
Right. So you feel relieved and also proud. I mean, as you should, because Cikal MUN, I think that's one of the most successful CAS project ever. So as you should, Queen. Okay, and then moving on to Alia. When you published your episode in the last episode 11, episode 11, how did you feel?
First of all, Isa, so true. I agree with that so much. After I finished recording the last episode, I was kind of sad in a way, but also I feel like the sadness kind of overweighs the feeling of relief a little bit because, as I've mentioned, it really was such one of the most fun projects that I've ever done. It is kind of like a passion project a little bit, but yeah, it didn't feel like a school assignment at all. And when I was doing it, I was very, very happy because not only was it a chance for me to, kind of be annoying about this thing that I really like, but also it feels like it can be helpful to other people, because I feel like reading is important to your intellectual development, I guess. And I really do believe that there is a book for everyone, even if you think that you don't like reading. So yeah, I was very happy that I've done it, but I was kind of sad when it ended. And I would actually really like to continue it, but I don't know about my co-host.
Yeah, CAS is all about projecting your passion, and passion is basically something you're happy about. So thank you so much, Alia. And last but not least, we have Nifari.
I can actually say I'm relieved with how it turned out. I can finally get it out of, well, I can finally have a lesser workload and I can focus on school again. And I'm kind of proud that I can develop my skills, especially my leadership and planning skills. Just I feel with the product in the end, I feel like it's not enough. It leaves me wanting for more, but I don't really know how to describe it. So I guess in the end, I'm happy, relieved that I can finally develop myself as a person, not just a student. But at the same time, the end product makes me wish that I've taken some more cautionary steps to make sure that it turned out exactly how I want. So, in the scale of 1 to 10, I'd say the project turned out 8 out of 10 in terms of how I want it to be. I see that at 2 out of 10. That's all. But yeah, I'm actually quite happy with how it turned out so far. Just, I have wishful thinking.
Right. So you feel like relieved because you have like developed yourself as to a better person, but also you kind of like you have less burden on your shoulders, and you're also happy and also
Mhm.
sad. So it's kind of a bittersweet moment, right? Okay, and then
But at the
moving
same time,
on.
sorry.
Hmm?
Uh,
No, 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 it's okay.
yeah, I just wanted to add that at the same time, I was also very happy that I can teach or educate others on what I'm passionate about and what I consider to be important issues. So yeah, bittersweet but more sweet, I guess.
Okay, thank you so much, Gifari. Okay, turns out that's not our last question. We have another question. But before that, does anyone want to add on what Gifari said?
Yeah, I think first of all, what Alia said about it being a passion project, very similar to how I feel. I know that although my career won't go to pursue, in those lengths, but I think it's still something that I need to do. And just like Ifari said, sometimes the the feeling of relief kind of just gets you somewhere that, and it's always going to be the first step to everything later in the future. So keep that in mind, especially to year 11s right now who are trying to build their cast project and coming up with the ideas.
Right.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
for
I
that
will.
wonderful feedback.
Yes, we will keep that in mind. Thank you so much. Okay, moving on to the last question. How you guys plan for an equal distribution of cast strands across your cast experiences for your years at DP? Starting with maybe Gifari.
How mm, for students cast trans across your for your years at DP. So I take it this question is about how I will apply my strands onto my DP years and so on. For me, I think I would try to use the strands as much as I can in future projects for not only when I'm at school, but for when I finally touch college. I especially want to focus on the creativity and service ones because I want to make as much of an effort as I can, and at the same time, I also want to explore more of the creative side that I like to have and like to develop. I kind of wish this was a bit more clear in terms of question, but that's my understanding of it.
So equally distributing your cast strands was not like a hard process for you because you have, the capacity for that and you wanted to experience the creativity side of yours, during this whole process. That's good, Gifari. Okay, next up, let's move on to Alia.
Okay. Not going to lie. It was pretty hard for me, especially for the activity part. I feel like my CAS experiences outweigh a little outweigh a little bit on the creative and service side. But what I did to like what my solution is to that problem is that ask my friends around because I'm not gonna lie, most of my friends are also very lazy in the activity part. But that's why the CAS part, these CAS experiences are a thing in the first place. We did mostly very fun things for CAS activities. My friends and I did like a just dance session, and we learned the dance and we did yoga, and yeah. For me, it was maybe just a little bit hard for the activity to come up with things that can not only be fun but also doesn't feel like a burden and can actually be beneficial to us. So yeah, that's how I did it.
Right. So, actually, personally, like, equally distributing the cast strands is actually pretty hard for me as well, especially the activity part, because, I'm not a very athletic person. And you're actually giving my idea for, activity with Just Dance. So thank you for that, Alia.
Just
And
dance. That's very
Just
you, Zaya.
Dance. Yeah, like,
Let's do that together. Just dance.
okay.
Let's do that.
Okay. And last question. How about you, Isa?
For me, a lot of the things that happened were quite coincidental. Like you're doing day-to-day activities and then you realize, oh wait, this could be a CAS experience, right? So, although I wasn't much of of an activity person myself, I always found things that weren't actually traditionally activity to be an activity strand. So, for example, uh, I made I cook a lot. Like I like to cook, especially when there's break, right? And I can guarantee you my cooking isn't, as the level of Gordon Ramsay per se, but it's still quite good, I think. And turns out you can actually use that for not only creativity, but you can actually use that for activity. because you're doing something active, right? So I also learned that from my supervisor. So a lot of the times, I think the most how you plan it, um, again, goes back to every person. For me personally, I usually like to contact my supervisor, ask them, hey, which strand does this belong to? And then, either scrap it or use it for my CAS experiences. And eventually, I think you'll be able to get something equal, even though for me it was purely coincidental. And also remember, if you do your activity for a month, for example, I did, I think, swimming for like 3 months because why not? Um, and then there was, you could definitely see that activity was the shortest one from all of it, right? Activity was the shortest one, creativity and service was longer. Um, but then my supervisor told me that uh, it's actually okay if you do it for a long period of time, right? Because you can't keep it updating it every day for 3 months, or else you're gonna have like activity longer than the others. So that's how I eventually made it equal. It doesn't have to be equal like per se on the when you open like the website, right? It doesn't have to be equal on the what is it called? Like the pages wise, but it can be equal in the amount of time that you're putting into the activity. So you can keep that into mind as well.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Isa, for that elaborative feedback. Sadly, everyone, that is the end of our second session and the last of 2022 CAS Exhibition Project Talk. Thank you so much again to Alia, Gifari, and Iza for sharing about your experience and endlessly encouraging and inspiring every single one of us, especially us who's going to experience CAS in the future or now, basically.
And with this concludes the 2022 CAS Exhibition Project Talk. We'd like to say thank you to all of you who have joined us today, from the viewers on YouTube and to all our lovely speakers from today's sessions.
And again, we'd like to remind you to head to our Instagram page at _exhibition to check out all of the other amazing and interesting Year 12 projects.
Check it out and subscribe and follow everything, okay, guys? And
Everything.
again, thank you. Have a great day, and we'll see you again for next year's CAS exhibition.
Bye. Thank you, everyone. See you next
Thank you
time.
all.